What is going on, everybody? We are on it. One Piece live action is finally here. I see that Netflix did their typical thing of where they just dump the whole season. So all 8 episodes came out. So by the way, you might be watching this and have already binge ripped through the 8 episodes. I'm not going to be doing one at a time, like one per week. We'll probably do two. We'll probably get it done maybe within like a month or so. It's got to be the most anticipated live action from an anime that I've ever seen. I think the only other one I've seen is the Dragon Ball Evolution, and I've seen snippets of the Avatar one, but this I don't even know what to make of this one. I'm literally on the fence. Like from still shots that I've seen to the I've seen the teaser trailer and the official trailer. It's going to be interesting, and it's also another thing too of where like I already know. It's rare that I watch something and I already know of the characters and what to expect and what happens. I don't read any mangas and then proceed to go watch the animes, but in this instance I've watched. So if you're here for the first time, you haven't been a part of any of our One Piece. I have not finished it. I'm about, roughly say we're on episode 400, and a lot of people say I haven't even gotten to like the core or like the guts of the story of One Piece. But as far as what they're covering in these first 8 episodes, I'm pretty sure what I've been told, I'm full past that. So I'll know the characters, I'll know the story, I'll know the plot, I'll know all that. Nothing will be new here, shock or surprise. So I have some expectations. I'm curious to see how far we go. I think we get all the way up to Sanji joining the crew. Is he the last part, or is Usopp before Sanji? I always get that mixed up. Regardless, we're short of Chopper. And I'm on the fence from the trailers. Like it doesn't look like I'll hate it, and I don't know if I'll love it. I have a hard time looking at things that are like cringe a little bit, so it's hard to kind of tell. That's another reason I prefer subbed over dubbed, because my argument is I know what English voices sound like when it's cringe. Example, like when I see Killer Bee in Naruto, his English voice actor, I can't stand it because to me that sound like I can't listen to that in English. But like when you hear it, when I don't know what sounds weird in Japanese, it's all just fine. You know, like it sounds cool. So like when Usopp screams at the top of his lungs and Chopper's crying and Luffy's being whiny and Sanji's screaming, you know, it's fine. So I'm curious to see how that's going to come off in English and when like it's being acted. I've seen they've made some stylistic changes just from the trailers and the still shots that I've seen. Usopp doesn't have his nose. We're not going with like the curly eyebrows for Sanji. I think Zoro's a little more prettier in the live action than I would like kind of describe him in the anime. And I'm curious to see just how far we go. I've seen some things that look cool, some things that look like, okay, that looks awful. I think the Fishman and Arlong look awful in the trailers. I just don't think it's... And this is One Piece. They have a lot of things that are we're trying to translate to real life, and I don't know if it was ever meant for something like a nose like that and things to move like that to be represented in a real fashion. You already see they made a stylistic choice, like Usopp is not getting his nose, which is interesting because Usopp's nose and his whiny and him being scared and him crying is like his character, and it's fine in cartoons. It's the same thing with like Zenitsu when it's animated and you can do like big bulgy eyes and tears coming out like crazy and Usopp screaming and running, like it translates. How are they gonna do that with his? Are they gonna do a personality shift and not have him be like that? But then it's like, is it Usopp at the same time? Same thing with Chopper. I don't know what they've signed off for if we get to the point of Chopper, but I've seen no representation of Chopper in anything, so I'm gonna assume that's probably around where we stop. But like, is he gonna be like animatronic? Is he gonna be a puppet? Is he gonna be CGI? Is he gonna look like Detective Pikachu type thing? Like, what are we gonna do with that? It's like, it's a lot. And like Frankie and his arms, like, are you gonna have arms? Are you gonna scale them to be more practical? Like, are you gonna show that he's robot? Can he open his stomach? Like, there's a lot of questions. And I'm sure there's smarter people out there behind Netflix and One Piece than me that can somehow translate. Like, I think Buggy looks good. Like, that looks good. Arlong doesn't. So there's a lot of moving parts. Gotta get rid of that bug right there. There's a lot of moving parts. I And it's one of those things, it's like, if this was a regular pirate show without the name One Piece, would people like it? Would people shit on it if this came out on Netflix and it had nothing, it was just a pirate show and it looked like this? Or is it getting a pass because it's One Piece and because the fandom is going to jack it up regardless? Or is it good on its own? All I can do is watch the 8 episodes and see. Like I said, I'm right in the middle. I'm on the fence. Like, shit this side, good this side. And I don't want to give it a pass of like, well, that's the best they could do. You know, I'll let it go. Like, I want to see, like, does this look good? Things are going to have to be CGI. Does the CGI look good? They said this is the most expensive, like more than what Game of Thrones was spending on per episode. I don't know if it's more than the Rings of Power, because I think that was the most expensive by Amazon. But I saw clips on Twitter that were saying they spent more per episode than what Game of Thrones were spending on when Game of Thrones was, like, you know, at the top. So we've been talking for long enough. Full-length reaction will be on Patreon. Highlight reaction will be on YouTube. I think I'm going to plan for, like, do double upload. So maybe, like, you know how we do One Piece, if you've been here, we do One Piece Tuesdays and Thursdays on the channel. I think what I'll try to do is do Tuesdays and Thursdays, or maybe towards it. We'll see. Let's get into it. Whose voice actor is that? That's the John Wick Blackbeard character. I forget his name. I will say, in the trailers, I didn't like the way Roger looked. He looks more intimidating in the anime. Here, he just looks kind of like a pirate that has scurvy and a wispy mustache, but yeah. Okay, now that wanted poster looks dope. And I don't know, but I personally believe that Roger isn't dead in the story. I don't know that for fact, but I think it's too big of a character. There she is. Alvida. I like how they're doing the wanted posters. I love how they're doing the wanted posters. I don't know why I want her to be like 3 times the size of what they show there, you know? I really want to know what the Devil's Fruit look like. They can get some real good practical, like, effects on that thing.
Gonna do one of these. Due north. Should it land in a few days? North.
Which way is north? Oh god. I'm sure it's gonna be coming up. There it is. That looked good. I want to see this. Okay. Beasta! She can't swim. She can't swim. Some of this was hundreds of episodes ago. I can't even remember how it went. Because I personally think they went a little too pretty, boy. Too like BTS, Japanese, K-pop, pop, pretty for Zoro. I'd have preferred a little more like rougher looking bae. What can you do? Okay. Zoro's movements look good. I didn't think the other guy's movements looked very fluid. The guy playing Zoro though, his movements look pretty good. Yeesh. That. It looks cool. I'm curious how it's going to look like when it gets bit into. I want to see what it looks like in his hand. Oh, it's over now, buddy. I think the Devil's Fruits look pretty good. I want to see how they see his ability. There it is. There it is. Okay. Okay.
Since I was a kid. To protect people that can't protect themselves.
And I'm still waiting for the day, like, I don't know if we're ever gonna get it, because you never know how the One Piece will go, and if true friendship actually means something, you know, and those type of things. Because this was like, Kobe was like his first friend on the journey to, you know, becoming king of the pirates, etc. Yada yada yada. But I've been theory crafting in my anime reactions of like,
We shared a meal, Kobe.
if these two like face off. No, I'm not talking like lightly face off, where like Garp is like trying to capture him, but like if they really wanted to, Garp could have put them down type thing. I'm talking like Luffy has to go through him, and Kobe has to stop him, and it's no more friendship type thing. Like, I've got to put you down, you got to get through me. I'm curious if that ever becomes a thing or what. Don't fall for it, guys.
No, it's all I have. Please.
It's a fair trade for saving your life.
Don't fall for it, guys. She's a trickster whore. Don't believe her. I wonder if we'll see every single one of them, like everyone that we know to be in season 1, every single one of the Straw Hats in this first episode. We've already seen 3 of them. The only 2 that we know to still, the only 2 that I know. Y'all might know more than me. The only other 2 we know to be are Sanji and Usopp. Damn, we just carrying around his body like that? Jesus. I hated that piece of shit. The guy, I forget all the like side henchman's name, but the guy that was sitting right next to him at the bar that got up and grinned. That dead body in that bag.
Come on, tough guy, 3 swords. I only need 1.
Is Luffy not wearing sandals? Are we not going with that? The most industrial Jesus 11s, the Nazareth 12s that are indestructible, can survive heat, sand, water, ice. Never actually fully draws his blade. I wish they would have gone with the haircut that's on him,
Don't kill me, please.
but this is fine.
My father will give thanks.
Alright. Oh, Nami. It's interesting how they're doing this, kind of. I mean, and these were the questions I had of, like, what's the pacing going to be like? Because if we get all the way to Sanji, that's hundreds of episodes in, you know? Look, there's only 8 episodes. So how are we getting there? So they're just shoving, they're slicing storylines, merging storylines. Because it's interesting, because there's a lot of you kind of know what happens, but the journey to get to those plot points that you know of are a little bit different. Like, it's got me a little bit of an eyebrow raised, because I know how we get to point A, point B, point C. Oh, but the journey from point A to point B is different than the one I know from the story, you know? He needs to put that down before he hurts himself. Oh! Man's just here. Dick out and all. You better be careful before he slices that thing off. I will say Luffy's not as much of an idiot in this story, up to this point. As soon as I say he's not as much of an idiot. He's gonna take the whole thing. Nami would definitely be fucking dead. She'd be so dead, at least paralyzed. Could leave if you wanted. but we can't. Oh shit. Okay, now we're getting past the standard fighting. I was like, all right, standard enough that the regular actors could handle this. They could dodge, they could spin, they could throw a punch. Oof. They had some big buff guy do that back handspring for Luffy. The guy's biceps were like twice, 3 times the size. Okay. That was all Zoro's actor right there, like real Zoro. Okay. Hold on now. Oh hell. Here we go. Tight on tight too. Alright, so we are gonna get it. I didn't know if they were gonna do it this episode in the first episode or not. I'm very curious to see how it looks. That's where it goes. Yeah. Got his ass. Yeah, appreciate the help, Nami. As always, appreciate it, girl. Power pole extend shit. Oh, shit. I forget how, like, in the beginning, at least in my opinion, can we make the argument that Zoro was just as strong, if not stronger, than Luffy? I'm talking, like, in this time in the anime. In my opinion, I thought he was. Like, I thought they could have thrown evenly. Now, I think... at the beginning of the episode, the Marine that's reading off kind of like the last rites to Roger, I think that's Garp. And that's why that little comment was made there, like he kind of whispered in his ear, he's like, hey, I told you, you were taking it too far. Speaking of, Garp, here's his ass right now. So I'm pretty sure that guy at the beginning of the episode that was kind of reading off the last rites to Roger, that guy is Garp. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that is him. We just end it. Oh, I was about to say, you're gonna not show us him at least? I think Buggy looks great. And I love the wanted poster thing, little cut scenes they do. How he just interacted with it right there in the breaking fourth wall. Over the top, like creepily, like, oh god, I don't like the way he's animated. This is like, oh shit, like Buggy's serious. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Now, I don't know if we're doing... Whoa, you're not about to get me with that shit. I mean, that's gotta be the shot of the entire thing, right? I think that's the shot of the, like, of everything we saw. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Garp, Roger. I mean, if it's not that, then it's definitely, probably the Roger. So, episode 1. I feel like there was good, I feel like there was bad. But overall, good, bad, in between. I had a good time watching it. So that's what I was trying to see. Because like I said, when I came into it after seeing still shots, Twitter threads, trailers, official trailers, I was like dead middle, like on the fence. Like this could be good, this could be bad, I don't know. And I still feel like I'm right there too. Nothing's really swayed me in either direction. The bad, just some... But again, that could be just my expectations on choices and things. And the fight scenes are like chop, cut, chop, cut, chop, cut. So you can't really see like fluidness, and you can clearly... Luffy's actor is so skinny and scrawny that when you see his like stunt double subbed in for a shot, like you can really notice. So you see that a little bit. Some of the choreograph is kind of like a you go I go type fighting thing, and it's going to be like that when you're having the actors actually do it. It's kind of like the actors are kind of waiting for each other. It's like, okay, 1, 2, I duck here, 1, 2, I strike here, and they're kind of, you can like see them wait. Like it doesn't look like fluid, like they're going. a little bit of like personality changes, demeanor changes. Like I said, we kind of know the major plot points like A, B, C, D, but the path it takes to get from A to B, they're switching that up a little bit. And I guess they have to, because I was very curious, like 8 episodes, how far do we make it? But then how do they include everything? So we've got Kobe, met him, he's off to do his thing. And we've got Luffy with Nami and Zoro in a crew at the moment. Anything else I'm trying to think what else was in the trailer that we didn't get so far in the first episode. Just Usopp and Sanji joining the crew, and then the Arlong stuff. And the way they're pacing, so I don't know what they're doing with 7 other episodes. I don't know what's going to be in there. Do you think we reach the grand line at the end of these 8 episodes? Maybe that's where they kind of leave it off at, but the pace they're going, pumping it out fast. Sure, we'll get Buggy for an episode. So that'll be interesting. I'm very curious to see how they handle Usopp's personality. That's a very big thing. It's a very, very big thing. Because it's not like a crazy ability, and you could say, you know, he's the sniper of the crew, or, he, kind of works on the ship a little bit there, X, Y, and Z. But I would say, like, a characteristic trait of him is, like, that personality, the scared, the guy that's negative, and then the Perona ghosts don't even affect him, like, that type of guy that's, like, screaming and yelling and running at the top of his lungs. It's a very distinct personality. So I'm sure they're gonna, like, his personality's at a 10. I'm sure they're gonna dial it down. But, like, I'm curious, do they kind of change his character altogether? Sort of like his personality and him kind of being scared. I feel like Nami's personality is a little more serious, not so much like damsel in distress, like it kind of is represented in the anime. She's already kind of got this, like, this Kid Goku power pull on her. So they changed how we met Zoro, they changed how we met Nami, and it looks like maybe they're going with, I guess, as practical of look for characters as they can. Like, it doesn't look like they've, and probably until we get to the Fishmen stuff, that they've purposely tried to make a character with, like, extra makeup or extra, like, fat suit or something to make them really, like, comic, like, okay, this is what this is gonna look like. Like, I didn't know what I was expecting Evita to look like, I didn't know what I was expecting Garp to look like, or what I was expecting Morgan to look like. But they're very dialed down, very kind of like mild. Everybody else is just kind of like, all right, what color hair do they have? All right, dye it. All right, keep it moving. I will say, Buggy is the first where it's like, okay, he's got it. The look is down. Clearly Nami's hair looks dyed. You can kind of see it a little bit. Zoro's hair, you can kind of see it a little bit at the, they've got it sprayed, they've got it dyed. They're kind of doing whatever they want to do with that. But I do like the vibe of the show. It kind of feels a little bit smooth. Curious to kind of see the rubber. Like, I wonder if he's going to do kind of the over-the-top things, like I said, where he kind of like shoots to the top of a building, grabs it, and slingshots himself in like he's Spider-Man or some crazy shit like that. I will say the best of the fight and kind of choreographed stuff has been the Zoro stuff. I felt like his stuff kind of looked smooth and fluid with it. I will say I do enjoy. I mean, I enjoy the vibe of it. Feels good so far. We're only 1 episode in, and if that's going to be the vibe, it'll make for a good time. I saw earlier that it had a pretty high received, like, Rotten Tomato amongst the audience. Now that could be a little bit skewed because One Piece is so well beloved that, like, whether it's shit or not, the One Piece fans are going to go boost that up, whether the critics hate it or not. I'm curious kind of where it might be at right now. I think it was at like an 80 and a 90 when I saw it. I'm curious what it's at right now, if it's skewed positive or negative. So right now, as of September 1st at 3 o'clock in the morning, it has 33 reviews from the critics at 82% and over 5,000 in essentially 24 hours for the audience score at a 94%. Interesting. So I think it'll get good reviews because of the anime and manga love behind it. Like, that's going to boost the reviews. Now, you have to be objective. Like, does that mean it's a good show? That's TBD. Right now, I'm still on the fence. It was a good watch. I didn't, like, hate watching it. Very curious to see how these 7 episodes go. I want to see more of the characters, more like the interaction, see how they do, because that's the vibe that really kind of makes it. Like I said, Luffy doesn't seem as much of like an idiot here as he does in the show. And I don't know how Luffy comes off in the manga either. I'd be curious, like, is it that same like demeanor, like back and forth? Same thing with Usopp and some of the others in Chopper. Like, are their characters' personality like page for page like it is in the anime, like scene for scene, or is it a little like worked up? Is it a little toned down? I have a lot of questions on just how far they'll go and things to show. Like when they have the show, the Sea Beast, and they've got to animate Chopper, and Chopper's gonna be like with the crew. It's not like he can be like off to this. I mean, you could put him off screen and try to keep him on screen as little as possible so it doesn't look like he's out of place. But like, what do you do with that? When you show Nico Robin's abilities, like, what do you do with that? I want to see Crocodile when they have him turn into sand, and I want to see the giants walking around and what they do with like the, Okaji's ice, and there's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of devil. I want to see Bellamy wind up and twist, but they might X some of that out. They might not. I don't think we're going to Skypiea. I don't think we're doing that type of thing. But I have no idea. I have no idea. Again, like, I don't know, like, of the 1,000 episodes out there and the 1,000 chapters, how much of that are they pulling? Like, are we going page for page, scene for scene? Or are we essentially going to, like, at least lightly touch every single episode if it has meaning to the story? Or are they going to take, like I said, the major plot points, the major stories of One Piece, and just kind of craft their own pathway to get from plot points? But then it's not One Piece at that point, because a lot of people say, it's the relationships, the bond, story, and everything like that. And I feel like if you kind of like subvert it and you don't at least show the relationships and the bonding of it, you kind of lose. Then it just becomes like a regular pirate show at that point, and you could just like get rid of the name One Piece, but people wouldn't watch if it wasn't. So we'll leave it there, because the only other pirate thing I've ever watched, and I said this when I first started One Piece, was Pirates. And I don't know what it is about Pirates of the Caribbean, whichever you prefer to say. There's like a look to it, a feel to it, like the set design, the costumes, the CGI, and the animation. And people agree with this. Why the hell does Davy Jones and that animation hold up? Like, I could go watch that shit right now on a damn LED OLED 4K, and it's gonna look like it came out today with the best technology. Why is that? And there's things today that come out, some things in the One Piece, other movies, and like, they can't hit it. You can tell it's CGI. You can tell it doesn't match with like the real characters, the environment. I don't know why Pirates is so good. That everything looks like it flows on one screen. I got people today that like they use the volume, they don't use the volume, they use green screen on top of practical. They try to like do these things. And there's a little bit of that here where like they kind of do some of the wide shots. You saw that in the opening with Roger, of like showing the crowd. Like they had maybe a mix of like maybe 10 actual people when the rest was kind of like CGI doubled out. Same thing with the boats and stuff. You could tell that like, okay, that's one ship maybe on practical water, but the rest is kind of like double copy pasted. Why was the pirate shit so good? I don't know. That's the only thing I have to compare it to. And like the background and the settings, like here you can tell like, okay, that might be on a volume or a green screen. They might have like digitally put that in. Man, Pirates didn't miss. So we'll see. Solid first episode. On Patreon, you get the full. YouTube, you'll get the edited. And we will continue the journey from there. Appreciate it, everybody. Like, share, favorite, subscribe, and as always,